This fucking movie.
Oh God. Yeah. And the thing
I
is,
do want to say.
I
Go
hate it
ahead.
more than you. And
Oh, of course. You hate every movie more than I do. I do want to say that this bit, I wrote this opening sketch thinking, God, I'm going to go have to find a 2003 calendar, aren't I? I'd forgotten that the calendar on my wall was actually on my wall, 2003 calendar, up through November of 2014.
yeah, I
Did
have
I
been.
say 2003 that whole time?
Yeah, you said 2003.
Uh,
I meant 2013.
yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. I wrote the joke not realizing that it was true.
Now,
Now, this one was a tough one, not just because of the movie. We kind of pushed the envelope for what we do with sketches here.
oh yeah, there's a really nice piece of puppetry coming right up. Hold on. Or
The attic.
yeah, the attic sequence. Yeah.
Oh, we were in that attic in the coal for so long trying to get the lighting something decent, something, and nice little bit of snarl here from you.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I don't have a tripod anymore, and so I had to hold the camera as still as possible. And the irritation of that came through in the performance quite nicely, I believe.
Yeah. No, there's about 1,000 takes in the attic just trying to grasping desperately for the light chain.
Hmm.
But no,
Yeah.
this I mean between the sketch work, which was pretty hefty, the sheer amount of writing, just we cut out a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff got cut
This is one
to
of
make
those
this.
movies that it gives you more material to work with than you can possibly reach. Yeah, right here. This is great.
Wah!
Oh, and the sound just sells it.
I don't even remember where I found that thud noise, but I love it dearly. So I had to use it as many times as possible.
Meanwhile, I improved my puppeteering by occasionally scrunching up Starchibald's nose more often.
He's a considerably smaller puppet. You don't
Yeah.
have as much room to work with him
Yeah.
without getting in camera yourself. Maybe if we had the Henson setup where you could really hold him over your head, but
Right, or the modern Henson setup where I've got a full body green bodysuit to
mm,
be keyed out of everything.
yeah,
But we don't have money or skill. So
yeah. There's that. The sheer amount of writing in this one. Mild anxiety of asking out for all the cameos.
yep.
Zeus, that was a bitch to.
Oh yeah, I can sympathize. Anytime I have to have Starchibald holding anything, it's a real pain.
Yeah,
Which it actually plays in later with another visual gag. But
and I was very happy to find that this bit of Man or Astroman playing Frosty the Snowman fit in with our opening sequence almost perfectly.
oh, that
That
Manor
was
Astro
happy.
Man.
That was happy coincidence. Yeah, yeah, I did find this movie in the summer at a Walgreens in the discount bin, and they let me have it for $1 because it didn't ring up properly. And I picked it up because I actually thought it sounded interesting. I didn't think it would be good, but I thought it would definitely be interesting because yeah, Christmas and crisis movies are always Christmas is about to be canceled. Wait. Thank you, Jon Stewart. So, one where Christmas was already gone sounded interesting.
See,
Too bad the movie didn't really play that at all.
I had never heard of this before he sent this to me, and I was appalled on all levels once I saw it. Um, and I do mean appalled. I mean, this was a terrible, terrible movie, and we fundamentally disagree about the animation in this. I think the animation itself is really lazy and terrible.
I
Um,
don't think it's terrible. I just.
it's disconcerting because the lip sync is The lip sync is super smooth and nothing else has much effort put into it, so it just exaggerates how bad the animation is to me.
Yeah, there's a bit later where we're talking, and it gets really lazy in songs, which I kind of don't blame them for. But
Yeah,
yeah, we only offhandedly mention it, but virtually every song is just full of montagey fade to stills.
yeah, that's the big difference between this and an actual like good musical kids movie is they put all the effort into the musical numbers on a DreamWorks or Disney production. Those get all the attention, they get all the focus, and here they are just phoned in, uh, utterly
They
phoned
are
in.
styrofoam peanuts.
Although I think we covered a lot of this pretty well in the actual video itself. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, we're talking about the voice cast did. I saw Jay Leno's the narrator. I'm like, okay, okay, gotta see this. Because when you think Christmas narrator, you think Jay Leno. What about Congress? Fucking Jay Leno. We cut out a lot of his interruption too.
yeah, yeah.
It's not so bad for the first half. The second half, he is in there every 3 minutes, telling us exactly what's on screen. Like, right after the crad gets crushed by coal, that's right. The crad was crushed under a mound of coal. Shut. The shut up Leno gag was literally from me yelling shut up at the screen. I was so pissed off. Oh, Andy Griffith. I
One
watched so much Matlock growing up.
one of the things that also did not get much attention is the fact that the that I wanted to focus on more is the way that they make the sack. It looks like a monster most of the time. One of the holly leaves makes this horrible opening, sideways opening mouth, and then the berries make the eyes, and it just looks like this sort of banana slug mutant that's out to eat your soul.
Yeah, that was one of the gags that we ended up cutting for time. Also, so many technical problems with this one. I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to animate that thing going, ah, give me your soul.
Yeah,
Oh, this was a nightmare to edit. Something went wrong with the encode when I ripped the CD, and I'm also using an outdated version of Premiere. So I was getting memory problems and crashes, and
it
at some point I was actually rendering out just like 3 to 5 minute chunks.
his frustration reminded me a lot of my edit of the bot review,
Mm.
which was full of random inexplicable crashes.
Yeah, and I'm yeah, and there's a lot of graphical glitches in here that we just decided to bend over and take.
This whole
There's
movie
there's
was a lot of bend over and take.
yeah. Yeah, there's a bit where towards once we hit Buster and Charlie, the sound sync is off, and there's little we could do about that in time to get it out.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad, but it was just reaching this point where fuck it, we need to get this out before Christmas.
What was
Oh,
funny
Miss
is
Dowdy.
what was funny is that we had people coming to this movie's defense
Yes.
in social media, which I found baffling. But
Yeah. Apparently, somebody on one of the Channel Awesome people actually put this in their like underrated Christmas movies, and I just kind of you've got to be kidding me, right?
well, I mean, people cosplay Germany from Halacia, so
Yeah.
everybody's into something.
Man, I wish that blood effect had come out better.
I thought it turned out pretty nice.
Yeah, it's just a little hard to see. I kind of wanted bright red cartoony blood, but what you gonna do?
Yeah, we had a joke about these next couple of people that they show being Hermione and
And
Hermione,
Ron and
Harry, and
Harry
Ron.
Potter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that didn't make it in.
yeah. We cut out of here. There's a whole sequence where Sophiana's dreaming of perfect families, and again, it's all stills and fades. Like this song lasts 4 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that.
If time can be said to have meaning in such a circumstance.
Yeah,
There's me with the Coke. That was tricky.
yeah. Good
Uh,
old running gags.
Packing tape on the back of the palm to keep it in place.
Yeah, this is another overlong sequence. Just so much. We had stuff written for virtually every scene in this. It was just like, okay, we need to start doing drastic cuts to get this under an hour.
Also, why doesn't she fix the amazing food for the kids who might actually appreciate it instead of that shrill Harridan?
Yeah. Oh God, Ratatouille! Ratatouille!
Oh.
Always good callback. Oh God, that movie. Yeah, I. This movie is such a pile of cliches. It's shameless.
Anytime one of the puppets brandishes something dangerous, I find that deeply, deeply funny. And it's like it was one of the hardest things I had to animate with the hand rigging for Starchaball. But we had the one time where he's sharpening he's polishing an X-Acto knife when someone
Yeah.
questions Clue being the greatest movie of all time, and Sonny Jim's brandishing the barbecue fork reminded me of that.
The Pathos Steamroller. Oh. Yeah, seriously, where do they.
21
There's.
Orphans.
Yes, there was a lot of yes, we counted in this one. Going back and making very specific counts. Because I like it when you can back this shit up with numbers. Shirley Jones. Just.
Now, you remember Shirley Jones from all sorts of, good things. I remember Shirley Jones as being the villain from the second episode of UPN's classic series Deadly Games, which you all will be hearing a lot about soon.
Yes. Oh, man. Yeah, this is like a half hour into the movie and it's gone nowhere. And what I said, yeah, they don't really. As far as the whole Christmas, is it the Christmas has been taken away angle goes, as far as this movie is really concerned, Crad could have stolen the sack last week.
Yeah.
Because. And Crad could have stolen the sack last week, and this could have just been a shitty town that didn't like Christmas. Hell, it doesn't even need a town. You almost never see anything outside the orphanage, so
Oh,
it could
wow.
all just be Miss Dowdy as a royal bitch. And doesn't let the kids celebrate Christmas and won't even tell them about them.
But no, it's the,
Which would make sense since apparently they're in the middle of the Carpathian Mountains.
this cartoon has serious theological problems. Is
Geographical problems, melodical problems,
ethical problems.
urethral problems.
Basically, what we're saying is that it is the animated form of Congress, and
Congress!
uh,
Would you like some Doritos with your Congress? Oh, Wilhelm scream. Yeah, if you think the conversations that we play out bad now, like I said, this is the abridged version of a lot of these conversations. There's these dull, leaden pauses, and they just let whoever it is playing the Italian elf prattle.
if I might be so curmudgeonly, um, it's not that difficult to make a decentish Christmas special. When it comes down to it, I mean, all you have to do is kind of pick up on the same basic formula that Rankin Bass threw at us every year through the 1960s, and we were all fine with it. Um, yes,
Oh, the start of the Christian issue.
yep,
Like I said, that if Crad had stolen the sack last week, this wouldn't they wouldn't have this huge theological turd in the punch bowl.
yeah. Yeah. I did appreciate being able to rant about that as Starchibald, though. Um, like putting on the lengthy babbling rant about the misplaced theology.
Yeah, it's
Because
it
the,
again, regardless of how you feel about Christmas as a religious versus secular versus retail holiday, come on, guys, think about it for 5 minutes.
narrative cohesion applies no matter what.
Yeah.
And and I will say that one of the things I do agree about this review with is it put elf bowling in a whole new context and made me appreciate that movie more.
Yeah. I think we were a little meaner on that one than we really should have been for comedy's sake.
Yeah, well,
It managed to make me laugh from time to time.
we were also earlier on in our whole thing, and we were still finding our voice in that regard.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't suggest watching Elf Bowling sober by any degree, but
No.
if you got some cheap wine in a box and a couple of friends over, the Krampus.
Been wanting to do something with the Krampus for a while.
Yeah, I for a long time had the idea of a Rankin Bass style Christmas special about the Krampus in the back of my head, and the ending sketch from this is built on that basic concept, and we'll go over that more when we hit it.
Yeah. Yep. There's another we counted,
Yep.
and that was a bitch to count too.
I but we have officially determined how many elves are in a scoop, and so
So that's a piece of Christmas party trivia that will certainly get you laid.
laid out on the floor maybe.
More, yeah, North Pole Ranch. That was a bunch. It was surprisingly hard to find the location of the closest dry land to the North Pole. That actually took a little bit of digging. You'd think that would be easy to find. And yeah, there's some more that was ended up being cut from this as we tried to inject a little science into it.
Yeah. Cinema buffs may notice my use of Dutch angles to make sure that involving starch is clearly cast in a wrong or foreboding manner. Also
Or
known
you
as my camera was stacked on some boxes.
see that's how un high tech you are and unprofessional. I use CD cases.
Ah, I see. Yes.
I have Yeah, my camera setup is literally I've got like one of those multi-level desks, and I have let's see, four Nellery CDs, and then I put my Mystery Science Theater DVD tin on top, and then stick the camera on top, and then put like a post-it notepad under the zoom lens to kind of angle it up a little tiny bit.
Mine is
Professional fucking show on the internet, baby.
at the base. It is my marker box for drawing, and on top of that is a BMOG shipping box, and then a plastic Tupperware container full of Dungeons and Dragons action figures.
This is the point of the movie here where I literally, and I mean literally, paused the movie, stood up, and walked out of the room for a few minutes. Just kind of wah wah, and I believe I called my girlfriend then too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
called up Erica. I was like, "You would not believe what this fucking movie just did."
Jim, this is the perfect expression for Jim, is this sort of dumbfounded shock.
That may have just been you may have just heard a huge pop as a static charge.
Is everything okay over there?
Yeah, yeah. I'm
And,
still recording. I'm not dead. Ah, Diamanda Hagen. She gave us a hell of a lot of takes.
oh yeah, and she's always good for funny outtakes.
Oh yeah, we got to do an outtake video because I mean pretty much everybody sent us a lot of good stuff.
Just
Allison was the first, and there's just so many funny takes. It
I
would be a
I
shame not
I
to show
wanted
them.
to just release Allison's uncut video as a release. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I am so
To
envious
show
of
you
her
how
talent.
to describe how nice Diamanda is. Really, I was so sad that she couldn't make it to Magfest this year. She and Omega, they are so adorable together. But she actually had a bunch of takes for both that and a Shut Up Leno. But then she sent like it edited 4 different times with different versions of her weird distortion that she does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a,
Oh,
oh, this little bit.
just a quick reference to what was going on a couple of moments ago. That whole biblical passage thing, that too was cut because I had biblical passage references for everything he said.
Yeah.
I grew up in a home where this stuff was really really serious,
Hmm.
and so I found this particularly funny. I don't take it serious anymore, but growing up, whoo. And oh, but yeah, Diamanda has been. Oh, there's your doggy. Oh, right.
Yes.
He was looking like a monster there for a second. But
Well, he kind of is. And we're coming up on the list of words that rhyme with. I'm rather fond of Shaq myself.
yes,
SHQ. SHAQ. Oh no, they were ready for this. Yeah, this is a 3 minute song. It's a 3 minute song. It's basically 2 lines. I have a sack and he won't get it back. That's it's stunning. And now we come up on
oh, Norm Macdonald.
yeah.
I'm just gonna say this: Dirty Work is one of the finest comedies of our or any generation, and no, it's I know I come across as a curmudgeon that does not like anything, but I actually find a great deal of joy in quite a few things, and one of them is Dirty Work, which is why several references are in this.
Yeah. Oh, there's also I very purposefully picked the clip the from Conan
Box
for
office poison.
2 reasons. One, if you haven't seen that interview, what's her Courtney Thorne Smith,
Yes.
it is one of the funniest fucking things you will ever see because Norm does not give a shit. He keeps interrupting. It's hilarious. Also, let's be fair, Norm himself is kind of box office poison.
Yeah, which is sad because I think he is incredibly funny. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, as I've said, there is an alternate dimension where we got three Dark City movies, and The Matrix was this little gem that only came out once. And there's another alternate universe where we're all complaining because after Norm Macdonald's after Norm Macdonald's 12th movie, he's really fallen off. And I saw an Adam Sandler movie once that was really good. Why did nothing ever come of that guy?
Oh. Yeah, this. Oh. I'm serious. I want to hear what he was screaming about at the. And by the way, my thing went wonky, so I'm not even sure where in the movie we are now.
Yeah, we are. It's still
The
going. We got a
diamonds, my god! Thank you, Phelan. Thank you, Phelan. Oh no, it's. I dare say that you could completely remove Buster and Charlie from the movie and nothing would really change.
well. We demonstrated pretty clearly that their plot is a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, because it's not even like Sophiana is remotely tempted from at any point. This
And
isn't a Pinocchio thing where she's lured away for even the briefest second.
yeah, she enters the movie saintly and she exits the movie saintly. Um,
Literally saintly at this point, almost.
yeah, I've there's Lupa. Um,
Oh yeah, she sent a ton of stuff we have got to find a use for. Yeah, we
Where
decided
does
we
a
wanted to
fox
make the
put gemstones?
yeah. Oh, and by the way, TV Tropes has misattributed the cameo
Oh,
for the first. There's actually somebody, a husky dog, Lupa, and Trent yell at Leno to shut up. No, that is Josh Langland, the horror guru, who was incredibly kind to send us this little cameo on kind of short notice.
and thinner than me, so I'll take the misattribution.
He, I love his delivery, by the way. I'm not a horror movie fan. I can't really watch them, but I like his stuff just because he's got energy.
Yeah, yeah.
He's got energy. Good old fashioned cornball host energy.
Now this I really liked. Um,
Jim chatting. I've reloaded it, and Jim chatting with the DVD case.
yes, he's chatting with the new. This was Greg's idea,
I don't
and
remember what fever dream inspired that. I think it's part of just kind of the general rule of it's really funny when we treat the movie like it's a physical thing
hmm
or a
and
thinking thing.
and we just kind of ramped it up from there.
Yeah. There is actually hot cocoa in that mug, although by this point the cocoa was not very hot. It was actually supposed to be a shot of me laying the thing down. I just cut it because we needed to trim every second we could. And that is not a comfortable position to puppet in.
Yeah,
That is not like a normal armchair. That is a chaise-longue. It's the same chair I did the Jimina snob in, so there is no depth to that chair at all.
yeah. Well, puppeteering in general is a lot more physically intensive than people assume.
Yeah, I was shooting something with Allison and Phelan at MagFest, and I'm like on the floor, crumpled up in the. It was a little easier. Shot a thing with Rosenhacker, and God, there was like 5 other people in the room. That was a little easier because I could at least hide behind an ironing board with a blanket, but and yeah, putting Jim in a robe, he's not made for clothes.
Nope.
We're gonna have to figure out how to make clothes for him.
He's just a big old sack.
Pretty
And
much, yeah. I don't remember why I decided it would be funny to treat the movie like it was a child that you know just made a sexist comment on YouTube without thinking about it or something. Because
uh,
that was in a way my reaction to the joke.
yeah.
This out of nowhere and starch. What the hell was that?
Okay, well we're at the end of part 1.
We'll
So,
load up part 2. Give us just pause and commercial.
yep, pause and commercial.
Ta-da! This turned out pretty.
Yep. A very soft focus Rangoon Hollandaise special. We were
And but yeah, there's more sound effects in this one because a friend of ours managed to get his hands on basically the Hanna-Barbera sound effect library. DJ Soundbite.
He has a lot of
Yeah,
stuff for a dude that's supposedly retired.
and dead. But no, he found us the Hanna-Barbera sound effect library, and it's got. If it was a sound effect in the '60s in a Hanna-Barbera '60s cartoon, it's foghorns, boats, things dropping the doodly 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 pwing that
Yeah.
whenever anybody runs in place and then zips off screen. Impacts. It's glorious, and I had to use as much of that as possible. Dance, magic dance. Yeah, the selves were sort of introduced earlier in the movie, but this, including this weird sequence with our captions, ended up getting shoved into the back end. Yeah, the selves. Again, potentially interesting. No redemption. Extra hour in the ball pit, That was kind of us. We made the ball pit joke for the Ricky Raccoon riff, and at the time that we planned on getting the video out, it would have been extremely topical. And then there were technical issues and some other things, and we ended up it being about 2 weeks after that whole kerfuffle.
There, monster.
Oh, yeah, here's where Jay Leno starts really, really interrupting the movie every 3 seconds. That's right. If it could hold all the. We know. The characters say it.
We just saw it.
We just saw Scott Summerton.
The movie never refers to it as a bag or a satchel or a tote. It's always a sack.
A sack. Movie's very clueless in that regard. Yeah, yeah. And they clean up very quickly, too.
Yeah, too bad they've all got coal miner's lung now.
Yeah, toxic poisoning. Sophiane will be dead within 6 months.
Oh, Santa's lucky. He's gonna get tired of those songs pretty quick. An orphan isn't just for Christmas, Santa.
Yeah, there's no point to this betrayal.
The crad never double crosses the fox, which you'd expect, but it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, the Crad song is again about 4 minutes. 4 minutes of just this plotting.
And which the thesis of the song is I am not very well written.
And also this also marks, which we didn't remark on, what happened to the prior motivation? Was Santa bullshitting us about Crad wanting to take revenge for no longer being employed in uh the Christmas thing? Cuz yeah. And this was a sequence that was a bear to edit. Tugging a bunch of high definition Disney songs. It was fun to write, though.
Yeah, it was a good sequence.
They, it's a weird thing for me to. Well, not so much weird. It's just sometimes you need a good rant about why things work. Also, I'm always in the mood for some good Dr. Facilier or
Yeah.
Facilier, however it's pronounced. I wanted more non-Disney, but let's face it, Disney's the king of this shit. There are I couldn't even come up with any non-Disney ones that weren't, from movies that were genuinely regarded as overall great.
Well, Disney's had a corner on it for a while.
Yeah.
We
Like Anastasia was the best I could come up with a musical number that at least didn't totally suck.
Yeah, it's kind of ruined by the fact that Heat Miser and Cold Miser song, they're not technically villains.
Mm.
They could have been in on the mix.
By the way, just totally, well, not regarding the movie, but on Muzak, I've heard some like Disney style teeny bopper singing this song, and I'm pretty sure that should be illegal.
Yeah, probably.
You're a monster, miss. And it's a slightly upbeat. No, no. The Grinch song should be sung with contempt and bile. You hate this motherfucker. I'm not a big stickler for Christmas music, but there are some things. The Grinch song needs to be sung with utter loathing. He traded his mom for this old mule. Fuck you, movie. Yeah, that line. The old mule line was another moment where I just got up and walked away. I'm usually fairly tolerant to these kind of movies, but this one, yeah, the old mule line, just no. I gotta go do something else for about half an hour. Can't take it. And this bit where they're bored really pissed me off.
Yep. our this is rare because usually our feelings are exaggerated and are kind of distributed between the characters according to their particular in character wants and needs. But here we're pretty much giving our opinion of the movie straight up with no dilution and no swapping around.
Yeah, kind of. I've slightly toned down Jim's, but there's even a point where even Jim, dim bulb that he is, just can't take the. Oh, yes. I'm so. You didn't count on my loyal army of prostitutes. That was. I'm
That was
glad
the
you found
first
that.
joke I wanted to insert the moment I found out Norm Macdonald was in this, and I would have refused to do the review if we didn't do it.
Just had to find the right place. And the hug. Yeah, another thing we cut out. There's a running gag that's not funny, where what's Paul Rocco's like, your buddy's a mole. That's weird. I thought he was a fox. They run that joke to the ground with him constantly going, "You don't look like a mole," because that's the level of humor that this aspires to. Brad Triptychon Garrett. Oh dear. It's kind of hard to. It does become a bit repetitious. Also,
Yeah.
yeah, our reviews tend to be you really heavy load the front and burn through that back end as quick as you fucking can.
Well, most movies hit you with their terribleness up front, and then it's just going through the same terribleness over and over again. It's more evenly distributed out if you're doing something that we actually enjoy, like Clash of the Titans or
Yeah.
something like that.
There's another one coming up that we found it rather fun.
Yeah,
It's not a good movie, but it's still fun.
yeah, super fun.
Yeah. Yeah. No mention of the crowd, no mention of the selves, no. They're just dead, buried under a ton of coal.
You know, this movie would have worked exactly the same if Santa had just lost the sack.
Hmm.
Like, they could have just been trying to get it out of the lost and found of a Tesco's, and it would have been the same basic film.
Jerry, the film Renegado.
Like Sophie Anna must convince the manager of the department store that it's actually her sack and that she has
Mm-hmm.
a receipt.
Yeah, that you all saw that coming as soon as he said we'll never forget you. You all knew it was coming. Dogs knew it was coming. Oh, but yeah, it's this was definitely worth doing because let's face it, it gave us a lot of material to work with,
Yeah, it
and it's not a movie that I think too many people even knew fucking existed.
yeah. I like to think that we've spared many people the experience of actually seeing this movie. Also, Santa's surprisingly gaunt in this.
Well, he hasn't eaten anything for 30 years apparently.
Oh, I see. So worried was he that he did not send incursions into his archenemy's lair.
Yeah, yeah. There was David A. Scott, he of the Golden Voice. There's a bit we cut where Mrs. Claus, who was still very plump, explains how Santa hasn't really eaten much of anything because he's all guilty and sad. There's a whole musical number we barely touched on that is all about how Santa feels sad because he's failed. And oh god, that line, the well, sometimes when people say anything, they don't really mean it. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty
Just
easy to just say, yeah, my magic can't bring back the dead. Sorry.
yeah. That's yeah. Like I said, everybody suddenly knows all the Christmas traditions and they have the decor ready to go. And I think that they saved. I think I'd have to go back and look, and I don't feel like it. But there was only like 2 days before Christmas was supposed to happen when Sophiana is in the gets the Jesus talk in the abandoned factory. So yeah, everybody's just suddenly Christmas has everything Christmassy. Kind of makes you wonder how it was disappeared for 30 years. The whole world suddenly knows that Christmas is a thing.
It's a really distorted version of the reason for the season argument.
Yeah. Also, I'm kind of curious. I'm not sure when this is actually supposed to be taking place. There doesn't seem to be any electronics except for the Christmas lights, which are clearly electrical because the squirrel hits one and it kind of sputters to life. And yet there's no cell phones, no phones at all.
Santa's elves seem to be making the same generic toys that no one's purchased en masse in about 50 years.
Mr. Butterfly. Why? I do find it. For all that this movie shoves Sophiana's greatness down our throat, I do find it rather amusing that she's not front and center on the DVD case. She's off to the side,
Mm-hmm.
where a third string character at best gets the most prominent position in the.
Well, reindeer does scream this is a Christmas thing, whereas small
Yeah.
blonde girl screams this is a small blonde girl.
Yeah, but this is also, there's also Santa and the reindeer and the elf and all that. Yeah. And Santa gets fat very quickly.
She's pretty calm for someone who's just had the existence of the supernatural just proven to her right to her face.
It
Like,
was Jessica Kittrick. Gave us a quick cameo. That was very nice of her.
it'd be like if Zeus walked into the DMV.
Well, nobody seems to bat an eye at talking foxes and polar bears, so. Or caterpillars. And yet, Miss Dowdy's little dog can't talk.
Well, also, I mean, this is a situation where Christmas has been forgotten for 30 years.
Andrew Dickman?
All of a sudden, she remembers that Christmas exists, and then Santa Claus just happens to show up. So it's like, okay, so at some point my memory and possibly personality have been violated by supernatural forces, and the avatar of those forces is now coming to take a child from my possession.
Hmm.
That sounds
A
like the
child I
foundation.
hate, but a child I hate, but inexplicably keep around. Yeah,
that
she.
it
We cut a handful of scenes where she just continually browbeats and denigrates Sophiana, but you'd think she'd have pawned her off on some families for, years ago if she hated this kid. Yeah, I had to send this to you to edit because
yeah.
at this stage I was about ready to punch Premiere and everybody who'd made it. Oh, Elf
Oh.
Bowling. I miss you actually.
I live in terror of the day there's a movie that makes us look back fondly on this thing.
Good luck.
Oh, it would take some effort.
Yeah.
I mean, I've actually seen the Left Behind movie, the first one with uh,
Kirk
Kirk
Cameron,
Cameron. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I mean, I know where the bottom is. I've seen it. I mean, it used to be that my measuring stick was Manos: The Hands of Fate. That Manos: The Hands of Fate was the worst movie ever made because anything that was worse than Manos could not be considered a movie.
Hmm.
Like, if it was less competently put together than Manos, it was not a film, as far as I
Hmm.
was concerned. I have learned so much since then.
I think some would say Jupiter Ascending has probably got you, made you a liar there.
Yeah, but everybody who seems to review Jupiter Ascending seems to come back with the view that it's deeply enjoyable
Hmm.
because of its stupidity. Whereas Manos is just, if you see it without the commentary, if you don't see the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version, and I have seen the raw version of Manos, oof.
Yeah, there's actually the Riff Tracks version. There's all our cameos. The Riff Tracks version, actually, you can actually see that on Hulu. The live version that has a bunch of sequences that were cut from the Mystery Science version. And wow, wow. Yeah, no, I don't think we're gonna find. I don't think we're ever time or any other movie is going to make us look fondly on this as a Christmas tale, or even marginally less shitty. And I've got a couple of Christmas movies that I pulled out of like Ollie's discount that look to be. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if we found anything as deeply flawed as this.
You know, the elf gene pool looks like it's really shallow.
There was a joke that got cut where referencing that there's only three different kinds of elves in this, and yet Elf Bowling had tons of elves, tons of elf models. And that's 3D modeling. Yeah, sure, they were probably stock models stuffed on an stock head models stuffed on an elf body, but still,
You can pull the same thing off with this vector-based animation. It's
it'd be
super
a lot
easy.
easier with vector-based. Ah, Fat Grandma. Is there anything that Fat Grandma can't make hilarious?
I just now noticed the Pokeball on the Christmas tree.
Now, it deeply amuses me that this was probably a long sequence of Lewis, because he also did this same setup for one of Brad Jones's videos for Christmas. So it's just this long. Okay, I gotta do another goddamn fat grandma abuses me sequence.
Ah, and here's the
Oh,
Krampus.
yeah, that was another technical issue.
Yeah, up until very recently, I did not have the ability to use a independent recording device for sound if I was filming in front of my green screen. And you may have noticed that some of my characters that are filmed in front of the green screen seem kind of echoey and hollow. And so we had to wind up redubbing the Krampus with
Yeah, I ended up redubbing the Krampus just because it was quicker, and I'm a little better at matching the flaps.
yeah, I can't say things if I'm hearing my own voice coming back at me. My voice gets jammed up, and so it's really hard for me to redub my own stuff.
So when the Krampus appears, you will hear the real Krampus voice. We're gonna do a Dick York Dick Sargent thing,
Hmm.
and Santa for that is a beautiful image there, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Uh, that is good old Derek the Bard providing the voice. There are some more outtakes that he sent us that we're gonna have to find a way to use.
This little interaction between the Krampus and Santa is the beginning of my uh, that Rankin Bass style special that I want to make. It's like the first scene of it. And
Yeah,
at which point the Krampus then gets upset with Saint Nicholas and goes off and gets all of the lesser known holiday mascots to form together to try and break Christmas up and spread the Christmas cheer around to the other holidays. There's like an Arbor Day tree and some kind of made up Hanukkah mascot and a couple
yeah.
other guys.
I'm just remembering Derek. He improvised good chunks of this. That's a big no. I knew that neither of us could give the proper voice to Santa. I reached out to Derek, and we've got a thing that'll happen with him later. It's his
Yeah.
schedule. He's a busy man.
Yeah, the Krampus is technically not finished as a puppet. Um, I couldn't find something to make the two other accessories he's supposed to have. He's also supposed to have a leather jacket and a World War One German Kaiser helmet. And
Well, I think that works better for the second
yeah,
appearance. When he's just in the toy shop, it ought to be the simple one.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. I knew that when we had to go find a Santa voice, it had to be Derek. He's got that big jolly man voice.
Hmm.
Yeah, long
Yeah.
sketches, but you know what? It's damn it. If Doug can do it, we can do it.
And there's the Krampus implying that he's eaten out Santa's wife. Which is also from the opening scene of my Rankin Bass style Christmas special.
I'm very amused by Bucket O' Christmas. Bucket O' Christmas. Yeah, sharp-eyed viewers may notice that the shit in my backdrop changes between versions. Also, the focus changes.
At this point, two different puppets in front of two different green screens are now having a conversation, separated by about what 700 miles.
Something like that. Yeah, when we were shooting this, Erica commented that she didn't know you could do a pelvic thrust with a hand puppet. And apparently, I've proven that wrong.
I'm actually very impressed by that particular little move. That involves thrusting your elbow forward while your hand stays in place, and that's not very easy.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah, the gag about having missed Christmas because we didn't do a thing became much more important when we realized there was no way we were going to get a Halloween thing out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even remember what preview. Yeah, the gag about the previews coming to DVD and video cassette. I'm not even sure what. I had never heard of these movies that were coming to video cassette. They were your standard generic direct to video kid crap.
Yep.
This child has moved to a farm and they've got to go to a new school. And this is hard.
Well, thank you for listening to us rant on for. Oh, and the grand irony of this is that we made, I think it was something on the end of a 55 minutes of review for a movie that was 90 minutes long.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening to us ramble on for another 50 minutes about this, and we hope to have something new out soon.
Yep. Enjoy.
Won't you?
Don't watch this movie by itself. Never.
But do watch it as a review.
Many times.
And sign up for our Patreon.
Let us get that 1/100th of a cent for the view.
Good night, everybody.
Night.